got LC by Susan Deitch. Susan Deitch, a very esteemed writer. Most popular, it seems, like in the 90s maybe, but always very experimental and good. This novel, published by Dalkey Archive, I think this was her first novel, is an important first novel by a promising young novelist, well worth reading for its ingenious interweaving of narrative threads, which you can see clearly when you look at the text, because we have different styles of text. We have this kind of diary portion. We have, oh wait, it's all kind of in this diary portion. What am I thinking of? What am I thinking of by Susan Deitch that isn't told in this way? This is cool. It's a historical fiction. Well, yeah, and then it's a story within a story. This is very cool. It goes all the way from like a certain time to the time of a literary executor. This is very cool. This has been kept on my shelf because I still haven't. This would be a great one to read and review. This is the kind of thing where it's kind of like prime leafy material. If I could get to this, golly, would we all be, would that be an interesting thing for us to investigate? After 3 days in Marseille, Jean has made a contact which will bring us some money. We have none left. My canny sense, however, often puts him right on the mark. The horse does go lame and the train engine grinds to a halt half a league before some little town. But this train station contact, the man who smoked Turkish cigarettes, aroused my suspicions. The deal is we smuggle certain documents from Marseille to Algiers in exchange for our passage and 7,000 francs upon safe delivery. So this doesn't, not only does this look like a fun stylistic assignment, but it also looks like it probably is like a suspenseful story. So Susan Deitch, I've enjoyed her book, The Colorist, and this, along with Storytown, are books by her that I will be reading in depth soon and making Leafy Concern videos about. Next we have this book by Pasolini, by Pier Paolo Pasolini, The Long Road of Sand. This is a collection, it's published by Contrasto. It's this hardcover cloth spine edition. And let me reread this. It's so cool. So basically, Pier Paolo Pasolini did a photo diary along the entire Italian coastline, and then somebody later followed in his footsteps. And so you get this wonderful book that's like this amazing photo book, like those photo books I was showing you earlier. Remember, I was showing you the one about Hong Kong, and I was showing you the one about Kazakhstan? Like those have those amazing slice of life kind of images that are, not super saturated and intense. They don't seem to depict pop culture or like consumer life. They seem to kind of isolate moments of just humans among concrete and stone and stuff, to be poetic about it. And this has some photographs like that, and then photographs that are not quite so much like that. Beautiful photographs, and of course Pasolini's notes as he was making this trip. And so it's a combination photo book and kind of memoir, and also I guess a kind of work of, another work of memoir that might be like a work of criticism implicitly, in that it's kind of going over the same road again, traveling the same road again. Maybe that's what critics always do. The Plains by Gerald Murnane. When I found this because it's from Text Publishing in Australia. And it was only $17, and it's like a hardcover. The cover of the hardcover is extremely businesslike. It contains no text. It's just a case for the book, which I also think is kind of magical. There is no text on the spine of this hardcover, just a naked case. Coarse cloth that makes you feel like it's kind of this utilitarian text or a textbook that you're supposed to take out into the wild. Even though I think the binding is still just like a paperback. Do you see the binding in there? It doesn't look like it's stitched especially into anything. It's just sort of like, I think it's just basically like a paperback glued to a hardcover. I don't know if I'm reading that wrong. This is a beautifully written book, and it's not written that confusingly. Now no longer obliged to explain myself to my patron's wife, I have to overcome the doubts that sometimes occur to me at the monthly dusks, as they are called. I do not believe that anyone at those brief amicable gatherings intends to unsettle me. We sit so often in silence in the main drawing room, the only such room with no view of the plains, but instead a prospect of tall hedges and dense clipped trees meant to encourage freer, more speculative thought by its suggestion that the unimaginable has happened after all, and we are separated from our plains by uncongenial forests of uncertain extent or by the distractions of contrived landscapes. So it's like it's written exactly in this way, like exactly and clearly, and it's beautiful. And I think a first read might dissolve like a dream, and each paragraph of this book might really repay close reading. It was an enjoyable read for me, and the cover, what do you think of this Rothko thing the cover is doing? Really nice little Hawthorne book here, Selected Tales and Sketches, Riverside. Introduction by Hyatt H. Wagoner. You can see on the spine, we've got some packing tape there. She was coming apart. It looks like there's some more tape at the bottom. Nothing on the back. That's how books should be. It's just a really, really, nicely done edition of some Hawthorne tales. I had a good read in this edition of The Great Carbuncle. They put they put this after the after the introductions. The Great Carbuncle. Oh wow, look at this. Along the right-hand side, I've made like little notes of how many pages each story is, so I can like know which are longest and which are shortest. And Great Carbuncle, let's see, that would be page 150, I think. That's like not that short, I don't think. Yeah, there's just, reading a Hawthorne story is something I always encourage people to do. Since getting this book, I've also got Mosses from an Old Manse, which is a good place to read stories from him in. Next, we've got The Self-Made Map by Tom Conley, Cartographic Writing in Early Modern France. Minnesota University Press. Beautiful packaging depicting old cartography. Literary Theory and French Studies. We got it printed in the USA. It's richly illustrated throughout. This is really cool. It's like, it's kind of a broad study of how cartography reflects more than just the pictures it makes. Yeah, it's supposed to stir up thought. This is really cool. We're talking about cosmography here, an oceanic world of infinite volume. So here we're discussing an oceanic world of infinite volume, Now think about if that were your cosmography, what it would change about your life, And that's the kind of stuff that this self-made map is meant to get you thinking about. The self-made map is a good one because it's like, sometimes you want to go back and really look at just little things about history, like just our cartography. It's a big thing, but it's also a small thing. I mean, it's just sheets of paper, right? So you see a lot, and you see the universe in a grain of sand. Can we look at what it looks like without the dust jacket? Oh yeah, very nice, very nice. Nice cloth-bound edition. Thank you, University of Minnesota Press. Minnesota, one of the best university presses, I think. It's like Minnesota up there with like Yale and maybe Pittsburgh. I don't know. Like there's really good ones out there. Arkansas, I feel like it's like a good university press. I mean, there's so many good ones, but of course Oxford and Cambridge, very good, But anyway, Minnesota, good job, and Tom Conley, good job. Even though I haven't read your whole book yet, good job. Here we've got A Good Scent from a Strange Mountain by Robert Olin Butler, published by Henry Holt, in a cloth-bound hardcover edition. I don't know if you can call it, it's cloth-bound if there's cloth over the binding, right? Even if this is paper, that's the case. This book won the 1993 Pulitzer Prize for Fiction. It's a collection of stories. We've got this nice curvature to the title page. Of course, I'm giving you first impressions. This is something that was given as a gift. It was kind of given as something that was like, you might want to read this. First edition, 1992. Acid-free paper, we love to see. John Wood. John Wood? Is John... No, I'm thinking of John E. Woods. Yeah, we got So we've got just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I like that. 15 stories and 235 pages. Looks like this story, The American Couple, is quite long. I wonder what's going on there. The American couple. My sister and I dressed up like ducks, and our sign said, "Don't duck a deal." And so I ended up in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico with my husband. Whoa. So it's like cool stories. Can anyone else recommend Robert Olen Butler? Been excited to get to this book, but what do y'all think of him? Precious book here. Elizabeth Bishop's Complete Poems. I've got this and I've got the Complete Prose. Complete Poems is this like orange paperback, and then like Prose is this green paperback, and I think the picture on the front is she drew, yeah! The original watercolor by Elizabeth Bishop was drawn in Mexico in 1942. Behold it, viewer. That is a watercolor. This is kind of like something when you read the instruction manual, this is sort of something you might imagine or something. So you know how Questions of Travel has Sistina? Everyone's read Sistina? Well, don't just read that one. Also read A Miracle for Breakfast. Read A Miracle for Breakfast. I record this at breakfast, so I can say with great authority, also read A Miracle for Breakfast. That's my recommendation for this video in terms of Elizabeth Bishop. Yeah, if this is ever leaving my collection, then, something grievously wrong has happened, and I'm now like a finance bro. Against the Day in a nice hardcover, full video coming soon. Too Much of Life, a book that I always really needed until I finally had it. It was a gift given to a loved one of mine who then shared it with me all the time. And it's that new Clarice Lispector edition of like, they've got her whole stories in an edition like this. And then here are her Chronicas. And if you guys haven't read her Chronicas, please read them. I'm showing lots of books I haven't read. This one I've read, okay? I've read a lot of this book. And it's all really, really inspiring stuff. I don't care what you write. Get to this, and it's gonna you're gonna finally find the right topic for what you're writing next. These are very free-ranging. I would love to dip into these more and more and more and make big videos about each one. A lot of them are funny. A lot of them are kind of pointless. A lot of them are just depict little, a lot of them are little essays. Who is the author? Some of them will just be like about how really, really good little looks and funny little looks at somebody recognizing her as an author and her being excited or upset about that, or the mix of those emotions. If you're just into writing, for writing's sake, then I think Too Much of Life and the Chronicas in general are kind of like a must-read for you. And lastly, we have the Mendelssohn edition of the Book of Disquiet. We've got him on the... I had to get this because it was a Mendelssohn edition. It's one of those New Directions hardcovers, and I had to get it once I knew it was out. I saw it at the bookstore, and I was like, that's amazing. I'm not sure I super love the spine, but I love the cover, and I like these textless covers. Of course, this is a huge Mendelssohn thing. Since then, there have been other Pessoa editions that have come out that have looked that have looked the same. They've kind of had the same general idea. Like it's a picture of him, and it's kind of screwed up. And they're books. At the back, we have just an excerpt from the book, which is a stylish move. I think the other ones are like from his heteronyms, and this one might not be from his heteronym. It might just be from Pessoa. I'm really getting this wrong. I mean, but of course I'll get the authorship of this work wrong when I only really read it as an anthology that I dip into here and there. And a lot of the kind of the despair, it's not always compatible with my state of mind, even though I know that it's well written, and I do keep this around because it's a beautiful book and because I have lots of friends who like Pessoa. Anyway, so that's a look at the rest of that shelf that got kind of cut short.